Hello, everyone, and welcome to Counselor Ear Feature Friday. I'm your host, Brian Urban. In these features, I hope to give you some simple tips, tidbits, and tricks to make your days easier and your patients happier. In this feature, we're going to talk about the quick pay option related to credit and debit card processing. So, if you process credit and debit cards through Counselor, uh, this feature will save you time in setting the fields, the preferences, just prior to processing that transaction. Now here we are in a patient invoice in the payments tab. And of course, you can always select your payer type and payment method and go through the process that way, right? But what I'm going to show you in just a second here will speed that process up. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on administration in the top menu bar, and then we're going to select clinic list. All right, now within the clinic list area, you'll see off to the right, you can edit a clinic. In the clinic administration screen, we are going to pick the financials tab and then the credit card payments settings area. Okay, so this is of course where the specific settings are related to your credit card processing account, the devices you're using, all the specifics there. We're going to focus right now on the quick pay settings area. Okay, this is where we're going to see the same fields that we just saw back on the payments tab in the invoice screen. So here we can see payer type, for example, right? So you could say, all right, well, most commonly we choose private, we pick private pay when we're running credit cards, right? You may say, okay, for payment method, we most commonly take credit cards versus debit cards, right? So we'll choose credit cards. If there's a payment method subtype, right, you could choose that as well. You can set your default device. Your device list will be up above here, right? So you can use that. So if you have multiple devices and want one of them to be the primary, you can go for that, right? You also have the ability to set the the amount due to the amount that's due from the patient, right? So basically that means is when you go to run the credit card processing transaction, instead of having to click on the patient amount due to autofill the amount due or type it in, this will automatically put the patient amount due as the amount of the transaction. Now, all of these are optional, right? So you could set one of these areas. Maybe you just set the default device, but leave the rest of this alone. Maybe you just set the payment method and the subtype, and you leave the payer type alone, right? All optional. You decide which one of these areas, or or maybe all of these areas, you want to have preset. Okay. And of course, you can change it at any time. And of course, you can modify these settings while you're taking the transaction. So for example, if you set credit card as the primary, but then for this patient, it was a debit card, when you're running that transaction, of course, you could change that on the fly. Okay, now once you've made your selections here, then you're going to go ahead and click close in the bottom right hand corner, and then very importantly, make sure you click save. That will lock in those changes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to that invoice, back into the invoice itself here. Now, prior to even going to the payments tab, what we can do is click on actions in the menu bar here and then select quick pay, right? So you can do this from within the payments tab as well. You don't even have to go to the payments tab. You simply click quick pay. Okay, that's going to bring open the different options related to this processing transaction, except we're going to see that these different areas are pre-filled, right? So it just makes that process simpler where you're able to move this process without having to enter these directly each time. Now you'll see the transaction amount automatically set to the full amount and the device automatically filled. Now, the other options, of course, are still available, whether you're doing a one-time transaction versus a scheduled payment, if you wish to save this card on file, right? Those features are all available. This quick pay option is really just presetting these fields and giving you kind of an extra quick way to launch the payment window itself. Okay, so our goal is that this will make those routine activities just quicker, easier, hopefully more accurate, consistent. But of course, if you have any questions about this, please give us a call, email us, live chat us. We are always happy to help. Thank you very much for joining us for today's Counselor Ear Feature Friday. And as always, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.